In life, I'm sure there's been several times where you've met people and thought they were perhaps shy or introverted. But how many times have you considered the fact that perhaps they're dealing with something more than that? A mental illness that I find needs to be taken more seriously is social anxiety. I would like to discuss the symptoms of the disorder and also how this has affected my life personally. The number of people suffering from social anxiety has been increasing over the years. According to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, it is estimated that 15 million young adults are currently suffering from the disorder. Social anxiety is the second most commonly diagnosed form of anxiety in the United States, as cited from Lauren Weirick's Huffington Post article titled 8 Stats That Prove Social Anxiety Needs to be Taken Seriously, published in 2018. Social anxiety is often mistaken as a personality trait like being shy or introverted. Because of this, around 1/3 of people with the disorder wait 10 or more years to speak with a doctor. This is troubling because the symptoms affect your daily life. According to the Mayo Clinic, both physical and emotional behavioral symptoms are listed. There are 9 main physical symptoms that people experience, 4 of which I am currently experiencing right now. The 4 I most commonly relate to are sweating, fast heartbeat, trembling, and blushing. But the others are also nausea, trouble catching your breath, dizziness, muscle tension, and your mind going blank. On top of this, there are also emotional behavioral symptoms. Most of these stem from the fear of being judged by others. The main ones that I notice are the avoidance of social activities and situations, the fear of communicating with other people, and the fear of others noticing your physical symptoms. So, for example, for me, the symptom I find is the most vicious cycle is sweating. So, I get anxious being in public situations. I'm anxious right now, and therefore I sweat. And then, because I'm sweating, I get nervous that people are going to notice my sweat marks, and therefore I get more anxiety. So, it's like a never-ending cycle that I can't escape. I'd like to talk more about the situations and struggles that I have experienced with social anxiety and how it has affected me. The first memory I have of an episode with the disorder is from my senior year of high school. I was set to do a psychology individual presentation, and I found myself being irrationally fearful of my upcoming presentation. On the day of when I got called on, I randomly started crying, and I was confused because I couldn't understand what was making me cry. And the people around me in my classroom were confused as well because of how random the situation was. I found that it got progressively worse from then on. Although I was always on the quieter side, I hadn't struggled up to that point with making or maintaining friendships. But in my first year of college, I noticed that my friendship circle had gotten progressively smaller. I was afraid of getting close to people. I was afraid of making new friends. I noticed that my fear of holding conversations had gotten worse. After 1 year in college, I left school and came home and began working. Now, 4 years later of being home and working, I don't keep in touch with anyone from college, and I've noticed that my friendship circle consists of 2 people that have somehow dealt with me since high school. I never thought that I would get to the point where I could count my close friends that I frequently talk to and see on 2 fingers. At 24 years old, I am scared to date because it means putting myself out there in situations where I can be embarrassed and talking to strangers. I have been babysitting for the same family for 4 years, and yet I still get nervous when I have to talk to the parents about hours, pay, their children, etc. I make less money than other babysitters around me, my peers, because I am scared of standing up for myself and speaking up, and I'm too timid in situations like that. I've found that the symptoms really do affect my work life, my social life, my income, my mental health, everything really. But yet I've been told so many times to just do it, just put yourself out there, just be more social and maybe you'll get over it. Social anxiety is still a disorder that people don't think is a big deal, and that's really disheartening to someone who suffers from it. To be told to just get over something that you're feeling and really have no control over is really frustrating. It feels like I'm doing something wrong. I can't even count how many times I have questioned myself and my abnormalities. The fact of the matter is that 66% of people suffering with social anxiety will also be diagnosed with other disorders, most commonly depression, but also other anxieties, and sometimes it can lead to substance abuse. In conclusion, the symptoms of social anxiety are serious. They affect people physically and emotionally, both I can attest to. But get this, according to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, with proper treatment and following the orders of a therapist or doctor, symptoms can improve in as little as 5 months. So, if anyone you know opens up to you, tells you about their anxieties, please do take them seriously. Thank you.